I remember the sound before I remember the pain. Machines screaming, footsteps pounding, nurses shouting my name. And me, too weak to lift a hand. When I opened my eyes, tubes fed me air, wires counted my heart. The doctor leaned over. "We tried calling your parents, no answer." His voice was kind, almost sorry. But the truth cut sharper than the tubes in my arm. They knew. They simply chose not to come. Instead, hours later, I found my sister's notification. A picture, all of them, laughing, clinking glasses under string lights. Caption, "Family day without the drama." Without me. I said nothing. Silence is my sharpest blade. Backstory. There was a time I believed I belonged to them. A daughter who ran the errands, covered the bills, answered the midnight calls when Dad drank too much. I thought loyalty was love. I thought sacrifice would buy me a place at their table. But love in our house was conditional, earned, spent, and revoked. My sister was the favorite. She could do no wrong. Me? I was useful, a mule carrying the family's weight. I ignored the imbalance for years, told myself blood meant something. But when I lay in that hospital bed, breath stitched together by machines, and they celebrated my absence, the illusion died. The betrayal. It wasn't just neglect, it was deliberate. The photos kept coming. Dinner parties, outings, birthdays, always posted, always tagged, always a reminder. I watched from a sterile bed, chest aching, arms bruised from needles. Each picture a declaration, "We are better without you." I never confronted them, no late-night arguments, no pleading calls. I swallowed my words and let silence grow roots. And then, days later, the hospital phone lit up. 65 missed calls, and a message from my father. "We need you. Answer immediately." Shift in mindset. I stared at the screen for a long time. Not confusion, not hope, calculation. They hadn't needed me when I was collapsing. Now they did. That meant weakness, desperation, and weakness is leverage. I didn't rush. I let the calls pile. Each one was proof they had no one else to turn to. When I finally picked up, my father's voice cracked. Something about debts, about men knocking on doors, about "help us." For the first time, I heard fear in him, and I knew this was my moment. The plan. Revenge, if done right, doesn't announce itself. It builds, quiet, patient, precise. First, I offered comfort, told him I would handle it, that he could rest. The relief in his voice almost made me laugh. Then I asked questions, calm, practical ones. How much? Who was involved? Which accounts were touched? He answered everything. Desperation loosens tongues. Next, I went to work. I took control of the accounts, the paperwork, the debts. Every signature was mine. Every transaction filtered through my hands. They thought I was saving them, but every move I made tied their noose tighter. I paid off small debts to win trust, then redirected assets into accounts only I controlled. I let them think money was flowing again while draining their foundations bone dry. My sister bragged online about new vacations, new gifts. She didn't know every dollar was a thread I pulled, and I pulled until the fabric unraveled. Execution. Weeks later, I invited them to dinner. Neutral Ground, a restaurant with white tablecloths and 2 bright lights. They arrived smiling, relieved, still blind. I let them order wine, toasts, laughter. Then I laid the documents on the table. Bank statements, contracts, liens, their names everywhere. My father's hands shook as he read. My mother's face drained of color. My sister's mouth fell open, finally speechless. I said nothing for a long time. Let silence do the work. Then, softly, when I was lying in a hospital bed, you called me drama. Now I am the only reason you're still breathing. Climax and confrontation. My sister broke first. You can't do this. We're family. I leaned forward. Family? You left me to die. You feasted while I starved. Now you will learn what it means to be forgotten. I slid the final document across the table. Their house, signed over, legally, permanently, to me. My father's voice cracked. Where will we go? I stood, adjusted my coat. Anywhere but home. Resolution. That night I didn't celebrate. Revenge isn't fireworks. It's quiet, like the last exhale after a long-held breath. I walked through the house they'd once ruled. Every picture on the wall told a lie. But the silence inside, it finally belonged to me. They still call sometimes, messages filled with guilt, rage, begging. I don't answer. Because the truth is simple, I never wanted their love. I wanted them to feel what I felt. Forgotten, exiled, unwanted. And now they do. I collapsed once, and they called it drama. But when they collapsed, I called it justice.